for a couple seconds. We're in a 10-second delay.
I still have some videos I got to make on that thing, so I'm not quite done with it. But the Mini 3 is just taking up so much time.
Okay, now you want me time to mess with it. All right, we're still in the countdown here.
Oh no, we are
You're
live.
live, Ron.
Your internet's faster than mine. We're not live over here yet. There we go. We're live over here. I just gotta get muted. Your internet's faster than mine. We're not live over here yet. There we go. Okay, I gotta get muted here. And okay, everybody, 3, 2, 1. Welcome into DroneNation for Monday, June 6th, 2022. We're calling this the Where Is Your Mini 3 Drone Show. As you all know, the Mini 3 started to show up to U.S. customers at the end of last week, but just a couple of lucky ones or whatever. Most people are expecting a delivery this week, and the tracking's a mess. We're going to get into it in the show a little bit, but I got a couple quick show notes. You can see here that Marcus Crawford is absent tonight. I got a little bit bad news. Marcus in the hospital. It's nothing like serious, but please send out your thoughts and prayers for a quick recovery. Hopefully he's home in a couple days or whatever. So that's a little bit of sad news, but he's going to be okay. And another quick note, not on the show notes here. I hate this because people get me because this is the Apple show, but there was a worldwide developer conference for Apple today. They they updated all their operating systems. The new version of Mac OS is called Ventura, based on a popular place in California, and they updated iOS and the Watch OS, the TV. But the big news is they even announced some new hardware. We have an all new MacBook Air and an all new 13-inch MacBook Pro, and they are now supercharged with new Apple M2 chip. So if you want to know any more details, just go over to Apple's site. So this is good news for anybody that's looking to get a new laptop.
Yeah, I have a problem with them just stuffing that M2 chip in there and not doing anything with that MacBook Pro. I mean, the MacBook Pro, they obviously fully updated the MacBook Air to kind of be in line with the new design of the new MacBook Pros. But that 13-inch MacBook Pro, if you remember, I mean, that design is now 3-4 years old. So I feel like they should have done something in that regard too. I mean, you're almost inclined to just buy the new MacBook Air over the MacBook Pro.
It's still got the old touch bar on it that's been discontinued every place else.
I mean, they literally just took the same computer and just put an M2 chip in there. I mean, they're basically recycling the design and making a ton of money off of no R&D.
Yeah, and they're hoping somebody doesn't do enough research that they don't realize, well, for just a couple $100 more, I can get the 14 or 16-inch MacBook Pro, which are much better computers.
Yep, exactly.
So okay.
Regardless, it's going to be a great machine, but still, I don't understand why they didn't update it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the wise person would just buy that new MacBook Air rather than that 13-inch MacBook Pro. If you want a MacBook Pro, get the 14 or 16-inch ones that came out 6 months ago or last fall. So that's our unsolicited buying advice there for you people out there.
Right, Ron's trying to get his stock up.
Yeah, my links will all be down below, or whatever. So, and one other quick note here before we get to the real agenda here. The DJI Action 2 camera, this is the power combo, falls to an all-time low price of $279. So if you're thinking about getting the Action 2, run out and grab it.
That's a good price for the Action 2 and really any action camera. I just don't understand how GoPro can justify without the discounts selling a camera for $550. I mean, an action camera, that's really, really expensive for something of that caliber. I mean, they basically give you $100 off if you subscribe to their GoPro Plus or whatever, but I don't know. It's kind of strange.
Well, yeah. That's the thing that the GoPro pricing scheme is so messed up. Nobody understands it. Like when the Action 2 first came out, Billy, it was $399 for the base one, where you could actually get the Hero 10 for like $359 if you paid that $50 subscription. So the Hero 10 was actually cheaper. It just did not look cheaper if you were looking at it from the outside.
Yeah, exactly. But still, I mean, for what they are, that's a lot of money to be spending on an action camera, especially in today's market. I mean, I know that everything is a little bit more expensive, but it's just hard to kind of see the you know the difference that you're getting in an action camera. I mean, really, phones do a lot of that stuff now for what action cameras used to be. I mean, action cameras were great when they first came out because they were so good and they were so small. But now that phones are more durable, I mean, really the only reason you'd want to get an action camera, in my opinion, is if you were going to be mounting it onto a car or something like that. But if you're going to be vlogging, I would just use your phone.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you, but I also say, if you're out create like us, content creator, and you're out there in the field and you got your, $1,300 iPhone on your tripod or whatever. What if a 30-mile-per-hour wind gust comes up, knocks your tripod over? You broke a screen in a $1,300 phone. If your Hero 10 falls over, whatever, you just get up and rub the dirt off and keep going.
Yeah, look, that's right. I mean, there's pros and cons to everything, because then you look at shooting on an iPhone, which has better dynamic range, in my opinion. I mean, it uses a lot of better software to get, better video. And also it's easy to share right away, airdrop it to your computer and go. Whereas, sometimes with the GoPro, you've got to pull out the SD card and do all that stuff. So it can be easier to get that content off your phone and share it. So, I mean, look, there's pros and cons to everything, but I just think that the action camera market, they've gotten way too pricey.
And also for video, it's kind of an even playing field. But for photos, the iPhone 13 Pro kills the action camera photos.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, in our space, the action cameras are so good for drones and putting them on drones. I mean, the Action 2 is a really great little camera to put on there. And people are talking about that new DJI Cinewhoop, saying that there looks like there's a little groove to click that right in, which I would love to see that continuity between products. I mean, that's something we really haven't seen from DJI, is like an ecosystem thing. I mean, the closest thing they have to an ecosystem is like a smart controller. But you look at Apple and how all of their products are integrated. So if DJI could start having that integration with their products, it could make buying multiple things a lot more powerful.
Ron Denard makes a good point there, Billy. I don't know if you see it right there.
I'll get up there.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, no, you're right, Billy. And just like Apple, that would keep people in an ecosystem rather than, rather than having a DJI drone, GoPro action camera, somebody else's microphone or whatever. You would keep them all set in your ecosystem like Apple.
How much is it again, Ron? You said it was $279.
That's from a Drone DJ story. So go click the links in Drone DJ. Give them the
That's a lot easier to swallow than.
That's for, I don't know what the power combo is, but it's $279 for the power combo.
I think there were some shortfalls of the action camera, the Action 2. I think that they kind of tried to do too much in terms of modularity, which led to some issues like the overheating and like the fact that you only have like the very small amount of internal storage on like just the small little module. So I hope that they address some things with the Action 3, because I think that the design is great, but they just need to refine it a little bit.
Yeah, I know Lon loves the little Action 2, but a lot of the older guys, they like the design of the Action 1. And they'd rather just see the better Action 1 than that complete redesign. But why not have both in the ecosystem? Why not have the Action 2 the way it is now, and also have the old form too? Have them both in the line.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you can still buy an Osmo Action. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. I mean, I guess the Osmo Action was probably discontinued, but it's retailing on Amazon for $397. That's the original.
Yeah, because people don't like the new one. The old timers, they want it because they want that old form factor.
Yeah, this is being sold directly by DJI, so it's not somebody marketing it up. It's DJI directly selling it for that price.
Wow.
$400 for like a 5-year-old.
Get you one.
Where you can go get the 2 for $279. That's something
you get
right there, Billy.
You get 2 of the cameras.
Yeah.
That's pretty pricey.
Get better video quality.
That's a great price at $279 though.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you can't even fill your car for $279 anymore, Johnny. Sorry about the gas joke, guys. Well, listen, let's get into the main part of the show here. Billy, do you want to talk about the Mavic 3 first, or do you want to talk about the Mini 3 first?
It's totally up to you guys. Whatever you want to talk about. I mean, I think that both of them are pretty significant.
Well, let's do the Mavic 3 first. Because once we start talking about the Mini, we'll never talk about anything else. That conversation will never end.
So I really quickly want to give some clarification. I made a video about the firmware coming out, and they had sent it to me early, but unfortunately they didn't relay that my version had some things that weren't going to be available in the actual final version of the firmware. So what they sent me was like 0.67 rather than 0.70. And so I made a video about some things that were included in that update that actually didn't make it to the final version. So I think that they're clues of what's to come from DJI. Yeah, I didn't technically break any rules because I didn't sign anything, but I think that they're kind of some hints as to what they're going to be releasing over the next couple of months, weeks, whatever, whenever they decide to. There was the outdoor mode added for the RC Pro, and there was compatibility for DJI's RC with the Mavic 3. So I don't know how I got that version of the firmware, but that was what was in the patch notes. The outdoor mode on the RC Pro is badass. It almost takes it to like 1100 or 1200 nits from what I can see. I don't think it's actually boosting the brightness per se, but it's taking the shadows and it's lifting those up. So it's making it seem brighter, and it definitely feels brighter outside. So that's a pretty cool update. And I think that it was much needed because it now makes the RC Pro more powerful than the original like RC, or like the RC that they just came out with the Mini 3 Pro. So I think that having now all those extra custom functions and that outdoor mode make the RC Pro, a really good buy, something that is definitely more powerful than the original, or the stock RC that they released with the Mini 3. And then the other change was compatibility with the Mini 3 or with the Mavic 3 for that smaller DJI RC with the built-in screen. So I'd love to see that sold separately and become available for other drones, because I think that that'd be like a perfect remote for an Air 2S.
All right.
Exactly.
Kind of middle of the road, yeah. Maybe that was a strategic leap, Billy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're using me. I'm like the new Osita Lab. They're like,
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got an angry message from Deal Drones and Osita Lab that you're linking their stuff too early. But just to give people an overview here, the Mavic 3 got a huge firmware update last week, of course, with an app update too. That the firmware update was 01.00.0700, and the app was 1.6.4. And they brought so many features. I put them in the show notes here, but I'm not even going to attempt to read them off because they take up the whole show to read all the stuff that was added to the Mavic 3 last week. Bill, is there any one feature in particular you'd like to talk about that you were really impressed with that they added?
I think the way that you can look at it is there was improvements to the RC Pro, there was improvements to the telephoto camera, and there was improvements to the main camera. So, you kind of got 3 upgrades in one. And I really think for me, the biggest change was HLG, being able to shoot in hybrid log gamma with the camera, which is something that has been on every pro level drone from DJI since like the start, since like the Mavic 2 Pro. So it was kind of strange that like my Air 2S had HLG, but my Mavic 3 didn't have HLG. You'd think that it'd be such an easy feature to add right off of the bat since it's been in a lot of these previous drones. But, I think that for me, that was the biggest change, just because being able to get that extra dynamic range and being able to match the colors that I shoot with on my Sony camera, because I shoot HLG across the board, is really great. I'm not a D-Log shooter just because I feel like the workflow in post can be pretty tedious. And like I'm trying to pump out a couple videos a day. So that's just like a lot of work for how much volume that I have. So that's why HLG is perfect. And I'm really happy that got added. That's probably my favorite addition.
Right. And the vlog on the Mavic 3 is really flat. So it takes a lot of work in post to get that looking the way you want it to look. So yeah that is a big add. And a lot of the people that like to do HDR video love the HLG format also.
Yeah, I mean, you can convert it to Rec 709 or start editing it, in a different color space as soon as you get it out. So there's a lot of flexibility with it. And again, I really wish that was available from the start, but it's nice that it's here now.
That was a big miss. I called that out too. I couldn't believe it wasn't in there because, like you said, a lot of the previous drones had it, and it was really missing.
I think the biggest upgrade though is the Tele Camera. I mean, it now is actually usable.
Oh, and how about now you get Pro Mode in Tele Camera? So in your Tele, you've got access to in photos you've got RAW, and in video you've got HLG and D-Log. So I mean, this is more than just a regular firmware update. It's almost like this is the Mavic 3 V2 now.
I know, and I'm never a 1080p shooter, but I was experimenting with 1080p at 200 frames per second, and man, that is slow. I mean, when you look at 200 frames per second slow down, you have to look at it like is it moving? Like,
is it actually moving? Yeah.
So that's really cool. I mean, I think that's a cool addition too.
Yeah. So, in fact, I love the way they redid the interface of the app, Billy, where you could just go from the Hasselblad camera exactly right into the 7X of the Tele. So you have that's where you want to be. That 7X is what lossless and it's sharp. And a lot of people do find this too, Billy. If you really want to look good in the Tele, tap the focus, and that'll really kind of sharpen it up.
I mean, just with that focal length, there can sometimes be a depth of field, even with the small sensor and the pretty large aperture. So it's definitely important to tap. And even, we're kind of going off the tangent on the Mini 3. I've noticed that drone can fall out of focus pretty easily too. So with the Mini 3 Pro, if you don't focus after taking off, all of your footage could be blurry. Because when the drone is sitting on the ground, it focuses on the ground right in front of it. Right. When you take off, it can get, it'll be blurry. So I actually did a full active track video. I shot the whole thing and it was totally out of focus. And I had to totally redo it. I got home and I pulled it off the SD card and I was like, this is like so blurry.
Yeah, so be aware of that, guys, with getting the Mini 3. If you're not used to tap the focus, that you definitely want to tap something in distance to get everything in focus on that.
Yep.
And I even noticed on the 7X Tele, Billy, that with a big zoom on your regular cameras, you kind of get that parallax with the zoom. You get the same thing on the 7X. I was on the beach one day. I was shooting over the Margate Pier down to the Ventnor Pier, whatever, and the parallax made it look like they were a lot closer than they actually were. I'm thinking, man, I got a real parallax effects here. Like I've got some big zoom on a DSLR here. I was amazed.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the 7X is cool. It still is a little bit weird that you have to either go 1X or 7X for your optical zoom, and you don't have anything in between or after that. But still, for what it does, I think that again, it should have been released able to do all of this stuff, but nonetheless, it's great that we have it now.
Yeah, so you're right.
Did that update do anything with the satellites, Billy? Oh, no more problems.
Oh, there you go. Talk about that, Billy.
So a lot of people are saying that they've experienced faster connection, which is great. Although I think that because mine is like an earlier version, like an earlier batch, and I think that some other people are having issues with the very first batches that were sent out. They're not seeing any differences. They're still seeing slow connection. So there could have been a hardware switch up at some point in time or some sort of manufacturing switch up. So, mine is not incredibly long. I turn it on, I put it up, and maybe it's connecting within 2 minutes. There's definitely faster drones out there. Like the Mini 3 Pro connects like that. But it's nothing to complain about. And I really haven't complained about it from the beginning because it's easy to get over. It's like when I'm in the city and I'm flying in between buildings and it's taking a long time to connect, I put the drone up to 100 feet right above me. It connects, within 30 seconds. So I really don't have much to complain about.
Now, I got a different story than Billy. When I looked at the show notes, it said something. The firmware notes, it said something about quicker home point refresh. But first time I did the firmware over the desk, I got a quick lock right in the house or whatever. And then I took it outside and I got it got solid as fast as all the other DJI drones for me the first time I flew, and I've flown it one time since then. To me, it's like a normal drone now. It's fixed it under a minute, maybe 45 seconds or whatever. It gets home point lock. So I'm fixed.
It's really great that they've been able to rectify it because I think that was really the one thing that was pulling it away from being a perfect drone. You can live without little features that are, built in here and there. But if there's a massive defect that affects every single flight, that can just totally kill a drone,
Yeah, Lon just said I got 15 satellites in my living room now. Billy, you probably saw these comments on your videos if I saw them. How about all the experts that commented on Mavic 3 videos? Oh, that's a hardware issue. DJI will never be able to fix that satellite issues. You're screwed forever on that thing. Where are all those people now, Billy?
I know. I think that there's a lot of people that like to think they know what they're talking about. Myself included. Sometimes I feel like I like to try to think that I'm the master, but things always happen. People always get things wrong, and people are always trying to feel like they have the solution and they want to get their quick hit of everybody paying attention to them. Which really, when this was a hot topic, right when it came out, anybody that made a satellite video was getting tons of views.
Oh yeah. Oh, if I made a satellite video, whatever, a 2-minute, 3-minute video where I got satellite, that would get more views than if I made a good video. You know what I mean? Where I really was flying and really showing good stuff. But it couldn't compare to that satellite video.
Yeah.
I'm glad those days are over with.
Yeah, and I think you said it. I think the people that got those early, I mean, the only people I really see that had the trouble is the people that got them really early. It seemed like the later batches didn't have that problem, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I try to avoid commenting on some things like that just because for like I always find myself running sort of beta firmware and encountering some issues. So I
Right.
never fully comment on it. But like, yeah, from what I've found, it connects fast enough for me. I'm in the air and I forget about all that once I start flying because it's such a good
Yeah.
drone. Like the images that come off this thing are beautiful. It's just like, I can't even complain about something as small as that when I'm getting images like I do from this drone.
And a lot of people did understand about the satellite issue. People didn't have the drone, did understand that satellite issue was only until you got a home point and once you got in the air, the satellites were fine.
Yeah, I mean,
Once you're 100 feet up in the air, you're good for the whole flight. You can fly as far away as you want to. That satellite issue was only pre-takeoff.
Yeah, so I have an issue with my drone. I crashed mine and got it stuck in a tree, and I don't think that anything was broken because it kind of flew into the tree and then just sat there. But something that I'm experiencing with my drone is like the internal locks on the gimbal, that keep it straight. Those are like broken. And so when I turn the drone on, they don't free themselves. So my gimbal
really?
Yeah. So what I have to do before every single flight is manually grab the camera, break all 3 of the individual locks. I mean, I say break, but I just have to
Right.
I have to move it so that it breaks free. And then it'll power on and be totally fine. I mean, for the
Let me
longest
explain to people don't what you're talking about. The Mavic 3 doesn't use a gimbal guard like most other drones. It has like an automatic. It locks itself, so you don't need a gimbal guard. What Billy's talking about is you can force that to unlock if it won't do it for you.
Yeah, I mean, I was getting so frustrated. I was like, this gimbal is broken. Like, I'm gonna have to send it back to get it fixed, or I'm gonna have to do something. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, well, what if those motors or what if those things aren't unlocking? So I freed it myself, and sure enough, it turned on and worked fine. So I just think that that's as a result of crashing my drone, but at least I can still make it work.
Now, when you crash your obstacle, were you in sport mode? Did your obstacle avoidance not save you because of sport mode?
No, again, I was like testing some beta firmware and it just an active track, it just kind of made an oopsie. So I didn't make too much of a big fuss about it because it was a beta version. So I didn't really talk much about it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it got stuck up in like the highest tree in my neighborhood. And I had to call one of my clients that I do work for and ask him if he could bring a bucket truck over. And so here's me at 9 o'clock in the morning. I have my Mavic 200, no, not 9 o'clock at night. So it's pitch dark. It's freezing. It's like 20 degrees. This bucket truck has about a foot of water in the bottom. So I'm up to like the middle of my shins in water, freezing cold.
No.
I have my Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced sitting up there so that I could have a portable flashlight and shine the spotlight on the drone itself. And I just so happened to record myself too with the thermal video because I thought that it would be funny. So there's me like 70 feet in the air, shimmying up with my bucket in this bucket truck.
You need that new Fimi SE with the little latch system. You could have grabbed
that. To make things even more embarrassing, and I'm okay with discussing this because like it's been so long afterwards. I thought to myself, it was right on the edge. I was like, well, what if I use the downdraft of my Inspire to knock the branch down? Right? I crashed my Inspire too, and it fell down to the ground and snapped one of the legs. So it was like such a bad day. I broke my Inspire and my Mavic 3, and I couldn't do anything but just come inside and just sit. Like I just sat down. I was like, I can't fly anymore today. Luckily, I found a local guy that does drone repairs. Ron, I know that you're in the area. He's in Phoenixville, and he did a good job. He fixed my Inspire too, and it works great. And it's nice to have somebody local in the area like that because sending drones to DJI can be a nightmare.
Yeah. When I was younger, I used to work at Phoenixville. I know where Phoenixville.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's a nice town.
Yeah. So that's
been hanging out with.
Pardon?
With what's his name? What's his name? Al Duran. Al Duran. You've been hanging out with him, Billy.
Anything. Yeah. And when we get to the Mini 3, Billy, you made a great video on the Mini 3 with the tracking where you tracked it through those trees on your skateboard, and I love that video. But we'll get that in the Mini 3 part here. Do we have any more questions or comments on the Mavic 3 firmware update before we move on here, guys? You see anything in the chat that we need to address?
since we don't have them.
Yeah.
Johnny
No,
and I.
not enough people have them. So, yeah. Mark Fisher's giving you time out, Billy, for all that crashing the drones.
You know what, man? Mark Fisher needs time out of his own.
So, anyhow, let's move on to the Mini 3 Pro. The Mini 3 Pro, it finally started shipped to the U.S. customers late last week. A few lucky people got it, but many people are still expecting delivery in a few days. We got 2 people in the panel here that had their dates moved from Tuesday back to Wednesday or whatever. So it's still kind of the whole delivery thing's kind of an issue out there. And we got some other topics to talk about on the main thing, but I'm going to let Johnny and DeMarco talk about some of their shipping woes.
Yeah.
Well, mine had originally May 31st. Of course, that date has come and gone, and it had for Tuesday. And then DeMarco just texted me, said his showed Wednesday when I checked. So mine now shows a Wednesday delivery. So it's close. Hey, it's coming.
Yeah, I mean it's coming.
Yeah.
Hey Ron, have you flown it yet?
Pardon?
Have you flown it yet?
I've flown it 2 or 3 times. The day I got it, late so long now, even though I didn't get it until 5 o'clock, the batteries charge up relatively fast. So I got the battery charger fully charged. I did the firmware update when the thing's plugged in, right? So I was charging and doing the firmware updates, and I got a sunset flight in the first day I got it on Friday, and it's all good. I can't say one negative thing about it. It's all good.
It does not feel like a mini drone when I fly that thing. Like I don't understand it. Like it's so hard to comprehend. Like, I have so much trouble recommending the Mavic 3 to anybody right now because of how good these less expensive drones are.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I don't understand how you can justify going and buying a Mavic 3, the standard version, with the stock RC without a built-in screen. I don't know how you can justify buying that for $2,200 when you can buy the Mini 3 for, less than half the price with the remote controller.
Yeah,
with
909, I think. Yeah.
I think it's $959 if you buy the Mini 3 and the DJI RC, and then of course FlyMar kit and all that's extra time is not packaged together.
I mean, you look at the longevity you get, though. I mean, these Mavic 3 batteries are almost or over $200, whereas you can buy the Mini 3 batteries for much less expensive, so you get more bang for your buck. I mean, really, the only time where I'm like, hey, I need to really use my Mavic 3 is honestly, I mean, Ron, when I'm down at the shore. Like when it's windy down there, a lot of the times when I'm shooting real estate, I'll fly far out over the water. So, when you're further out there, you'll encounter some wind. And it's not that the Mini 3 can't handle it, but it's just like I'd rather use my Mavic 3 in that situation. But I could literally sell every single one of my drones, every single one of them, and still have the Mini 3. And I could accomplish every single thing that I do every day for both fun and for professional work. It is that good.
Well, like there used to be a big, stress between the Mavic 2 and the Air 2. What else? What was the lowest drone at that time? It was the Mavic 2 was the highest, and then it was the Spark. The Spark was probably about the cheapest one.
Yeah, but the Spark at the time was just so. I mean, you look back on it now, and it was horrible. I mean, that Wi-Fi transmission system, you could go further than 1,000 feet without losing signal. So it was good for what it was, but then now the Mavic Mini is like a full-fledged drone, and it's sub 249. It just blows.
Yeah. Now it's like this. The 3 is here, the Mavic 3 and the Mini 3 is here instead of the Mavic 2 and the Spark being like that.
Yeah.
Big but the Spark doesn't get enough credit. It was DJI's first small drone, and even though it didn't fold and it wasn't light in weight or whatever, people like that smaller form factor.
And you know what? I agree with that. And it was a cool design with like the circular LEDs. I mean, like my biggest gripe with drones, with DJI drones, is that they came out and ever since like the Mavic 2, they've kind of looked the same. Like they've all shared that same Mavic body style. And they kind of like the Mavic Air used to be its own like really unique design. And, the Spark was its own really unique design. And then they kind of came through and made them all look very similar with similar design cues. Sure, they were, a little bit different here and there. But I like the Mini 3 Pro because of how different it is. It looks like, I said in my review, it looks like a spaceship. It's so cool,
Right. Where the Mini 1 and Mini 2 were basically just shrunken down Mavic 2s.
Now, Billy, what about when you get the Snapchat drone? Are you gonna sell all your other drones?
No, God no. You know, I saw that thing and I was like, I gotta do it. I was like, I gotta do it for the fun of it. I mean,
yeah. Now the Mini 3,
how much is it?
I know
How much
the
is it?
battery life is great. You know, they say.
It's absurd. It's like $250. I hope that I can make my money back on one video.
Oh, you will. Hey, that's gonna be a fun little drone.
It's almost like when you bought the Tele, right? The Tele was just like kind of this.
You know what? The Tele was interesting because it was only $100, right? And it's better than the Snapchat drone, even with how old it is. Probably that's just absurd, right? I mean, you're paying for the Snapchat name on this drone, but the Tele was interesting. I mean, it was a good little inside flyer, good for younger kids. I mean, like whenever I'm working and doing real estate, and whenever I'm flying at home, there will be like kids at home and the parents will be like, oh, my kids want to see the drone fly. I'm like, yeah, sure, come out. And they think that it's so cool. And I recommend them, like, look, if you're looking for a good Christmas present, the Tele is great. I mean, you can learn to fly the drone on it. It's fun. You're not going to get hurt. And you're able to learn to code with drones like that too. So it's good for younger kids.
Yeah. Back to the Mini 3 for a second. It was a big update last week. The Mini 3 was received 10-bit color because when it came out, it only had 8-bit color. What did you think of that? That's a heck of a firmware update, Billy, huh?
That is, and it was something that I didn't expect. They just kind of dropped it, which was pretty impressive. And that just kind of adds to that pro name. I know that there's a lot of people that get upset when people use the word pro on something that really isn't pro, but I just don't know how much more professional you can get out of a drone of that size. I mean, there's really no area where it's lacking. It's got optical avoidance. It's got a great camera. It's got great flight time. I mean, the 47-minute flight time advertised, I'm getting 42 minutes. Like that's close, I mean, I put the drone in the air, and the estimate in the top right corner when I initially take off is like 57 minutes.
Wow.
Like when I take off, Now those estimates can sometimes be total BS, but regardless, I mean, the flight time on this drone is probably, in my opinion, the most impressive thing about it.
So that extended life battery is no joke then, huh?
Yeah, and I mean, I have the lighter batteries, and I'll use them when I fly because it'll be nice to cycle through. But as a Part 107 pilot, I don't have to worry about the 249. I fly with the bigger battery as much as I can.
Right. That's definitely good to hear. Now a lot of people, especially a lot of the Europeans, when they first got their Mini 3s about 2 weeks ago, a lot of them were complaining about range issues or signal connection issues with the new DJI RC. Now, I didn't see any of that in my first couple of flights. Have you experienced any of this, Billy?
You always hear complaints coming out of Europe because of the difference between the FCC and the whatever version that they have,
Yeah, true.
So they're always going to have an inferior version that, I don't know if it's limited by hardware or software, but regardless, it's always going to be a complaint that comes out of there,
Yeah. We had Eddie Nunes on a couple weeks ago who was lucky to get his hands on a Mini 3 early, and he saw no issues on the range or signal strength connections on his.
I mean, look, I would say that the DJI RC out of all of the remote controllers probably has the worst connection. Like the RCN1 is better and the RC Pro is better, but it's so marginally different from the RCN1 to the DJI RC that it's worth taking that very small hit in like range and connection for all of the upgrades that RC brings.
Yeah.
Which ones did all of you guys order? Did you order with the DJI RC or with the RCN1 or with no controller at all?
RC.
I got the RC. Yeah.
I got the RC too. So one of the things is when you ordered, only the one with the RC was available to ship immediately. So even if you didn't want to get that, you probably still wound up with it.
Think about how such crap that is. Like, think about like if they're shipping the drone and the RC, they could absolutely ship just the drone and the drone with the RCN1. I mean, that controller's 10 years old. You know what I mean? So
they got a million of them laying around the factory. Yeah.
I mean, so they're just trying to make all the money they can.
Of course. Yeah.
True,
but look,
true.
I do think that at the end of the day, like if you're making the decision and if you're not if you have an RCN1 controller already and you're saving money by buying just a drone, that's the most economical way to go. I mean, buying this drone for $650 or whatever is a great price. But if you're going to buy the RCN1, and if you want to spend just a little extra to go to the RC, I really think that is going to be the way to go, just because it's it's like an extra $200 or $150,
Right.
150, yeah.
Hey, Billy, we got a question from Bob Dempsey from the Old Farts of the Drone Facebook group here. He said, does it do well in the heat? And remember, Bob lives in Las Vegas, Billy.
Yeah, so now,
Yeah, some issues, but,
yeah, this drone doesn't have a fan. And the only time I've had any issues with heat with this drone is when I had it sitting on the ground for 15 minutes, booted up and just sitting there. And then I went to take off and the drone wouldn't let me record video because it said that the processor was overheated. So it cut off the video recording capabilities. It didn't make me force land or anything, but of course I did. Because I wanted to record video, so I landed and just let it cool off. But that was when it was literally sitting on the ground for 15 minutes. So when you're up and when you're flying and when you've got some wind moving through the drone, that's going to act as your cooling device. So when you're up in the air, you're not going to have much of an issue, with the heat. I mean, with the Action 2, there was obviously the overheating issues, but I used it primarily on the FPV drone and I had no overheating issues. So, the wind was keeping it cool. So
right. I think Bob got caught doing an update maybe outside and probably did heat up,
Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah, and I concur with Billy. I just flew the Mini 3 today, and it wasn't warm. It wasn't hot this short, but it was very sunny today. And I landed it, turned it immediately off. Billy, the battery wasn't even hot. I pulled the battery right out. It wasn't even. I wouldn't even say it was warm to the touch after flying, for 15, 20 minutes. So you're right. As long as it's flying, it's fine. Now, I didn't even have any trouble in the firmware update on the desktop, but I had the air conditioner on that day in the house, so that helped.
You got to keep it. You got to keep it right on top of the vent.
I don't see the heat thing as being an issue so far. I mean, I haven't hit my hottest days of summer yet, but I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, and you know what? It's nice and quiet when you're doing that firmware update because you notice when you update the Mavic 3, you hear like the voo, like you hear the fans. The worst culprit was the Phantom 4 Pro. I remember they had the fan leaning up against the plastic, the outside, and it would make this annoying grinding noise. And I remember there was actually a fix. People were removing their camera and gimbals to remove the bottom part, to stuff some foam in there to keep the noise down.
Well, the Altel Nano makes a lot of noise on a firmware update.
Yeah, that fan is runs. It will definitely run while you're flying.
My wife, when I was doing a firmware update for Nano, my wife said, "What's wrong? What do I hear?" It was buzzing so loud or whatever, and it made a hissing sound. Hey, Billy, can you call somebody over DJI and get Mark Fisher's wireless mic system, shipped out a little faster over there?
All right, we'll see what we can do there.
There you go, Mark.
I wish.
And what's one of the I think we covered kind of things I put down here on the concerns on the Mini 3. You guys haven't got yours yet. Do you have any concerns or questions for Billy about the Mini 3 since he's been flying it for a month or so?
No,
I can't wait to get it.
Sounds great, and I think people need to quit complaining about the damn drones. I mean, they're Billy, you was on with Maddie and I a couple weeks ago, man, and we talked about like what's next and what needs to be next.
I know it's tough. I mean, I think that it's really cool when you see like a lower tier drone get updated because it pushes everything else up, and you're like, they have to get on their horse now and start updating. Because the fact that I can even say that I'd recommend the Mini 3 over the Mavic 3 to certain people is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like the fact that I can reach for my Mini 3 and just say I'm just going to use this over my Mavic 3 is ridiculous. Like there should be a reason that is drawing me to that Mavic 3. That it does something that really no other drone can. I mean, the low light is better, the bigger sensor is nice. You have some other nicety features, the obstacle avoidance all the way around, but Mini 3, man, gives you everything that you want. I mean, we get so spoiled with what some of these drones can do, but that is a damn good drone through and through.
What about the Air 2S, Billy, compared to that one?
Oh man, the Air 2S is still the best deal in drones in my opinion right now. I mean, it's an old drone. It's a little more expensive, but for what you get, it's just so impressive. I can't believe that drone is $1,000. I can't believe they released it originally for $1,000. That, in my opinion, that should be like a $10.99, $11.99 drone for what it offers.
And they've lowered the price with the smart controller.
They what?
They lowered the price recently with the Air 2S kit with smart controller. It came down to $14.99 recently.
Interesting.
$17.98. Thank you.
That's what you got it, but it came down even lower.
I got one.
Yeah, but that's the smart control, not the RC. What you got, more DeMarco.
Right. That's what the smart control that I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
look.
remember when you made the mistake and almost ordered that?
Yes, I do, John.
Lon's point here, I mean, the Air 2S is meant to top the Mini 3 Pro, but it's so close. And like for what you get, I mean, a built-in screen, you get a better remote controller. It makes it hard. I mean, you know, we've really, I said this in my one video, like we've really gotten to a point now where, you know, these DJI drones have very similar specs, like in regards to like their flight time and their speed and their wind resistance, right? Like all of those have like become, you know, equal across the board. I mean, the M300 doesn't have a better wind resistance rating than the M30, and the M30 doesn't really have a better wind resistance rating than the Mavic 3. I mean, they're all on the very similar level, but then you have like these little features thrown in there that kind of make you say, hey, that's important to me, and that's the drone that I want. So when you look at these drones, if you're a social media content creator, you might not give a care in the world about anything other than vertical shooting. So you're going to go with the Mini 3 Pro. If you're a professional and if you need a ProRes workflow, you're going to go for the Mavic 3 Cine. But just know that no matter which of these drones that you get, it's going to be a great performer, and it's going to have, you know, a great camera on it. I mean, I'm pressed to tell the difference between an image taken on the Mini 3 Pro and the Mavic 3. They're so good, and they're easy to, or they're hard to distinguish. So, you know, you kind of get into these small little niche features. And it's like if you want a more upgraded obstacle avoidance system, you go with the Air 2S, let's say, for example, because it has the upward sensors that also work when facing forwards. There's no other DJI drone that does that. So I see each of these drones as having like this little niche feature, and that's the reason you choose which one you want.
Yeah. And Bill, talk about the DJI RC again a little bit. I know you've talked about this in several cases, videos and live shows. You've been frustrated with your iPhone goes dim early in a flight. Now, how much more valuable is it for you to have a screen that's always going to be on, like in the DJI RC or the RC Pro, than using a phone or tablet that's going to dim on you, especially in the sun and warmer temperatures?
I mean, that's everything to me. My iPhone will heat up to the point where the screen goes dim before I even take off, and it's to the point where I'm hunched over so that I can create a shadow, and I still can't see what my drone is flying. It's really bad. So but that's really only the iPhone, and Lon is going to just totally rip me in the comments because we always talk about iPhone versus Samsung.
He has that Samsung Fold that doesn't dim.
Look, the Samsung phones, regardless, they're going to stay at their peak brightness throughout your entire flight, and you won't have to worry. So in that regards, if you've got a Samsung phone, just get the RCN one, and you're going to be golden. You're going to be fine. You're going to have a much brighter screen, Eddie. But then if you have an iPhone, which I think a lot of people do, and if you value a bright screen to see what you're actually flying, then the RC is going to be a great choice. In my opinion, your only choice. I haven't flown with my iPhone in months. I can't do it.
Yeah. Plus the added benefit that you don't get a call or text in the middle of your flight either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The vertical video, vertical shot. How's that with TikTok and stuff?
It's awesome. In fact, I was actually using it before it came out to make some reels for some real estate agents. So there was some footage floating out there, and but it was such a great way to test it in the real world.
Right.
And I mean, it was like it's the vertical shooting is such a great idea that I don't see DJI coming out with another drone that is in their consumer line that doesn't do something like that, because it's become so prevalent. I mean, it's almost like, look, I hate vertical video, but I've just come to learn how to use it and to learn how to make the best of it, because you're watching on your iPhone, it's going to be vertical. It's just going to be the best way to consume that content. And quite frankly, it's kind of a fun, challenge, because the vertical video makes you think about your compositions a little bit more. And I'm always shooting photos for Instagram, and I'm always cropping them down to be a 4:5 aspect ratio, and that just makes it easier. So I love the vertical shooting, and I really hope they include it on every drone from here on out. I'd love to.
And Billy, don't be shy. You made a video like 3-4 years ago showing the vertical video in the Mavic 1.
Yeah, look, that was one of, I think, the underrated features of that drone. And from there, the Evo Lite added it, but then after that, it was just, there was nothing. So I think that it's a great idea for the reason of posting to social media. And even as a photographer, just being able to shoot those portrait photos. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, if you're taking portrait photos, turning your camera this way and taking the photograph. Yeah. So being able to do that in midair and get the full resolution is great. And also, you've got a wider field of view. So like, you know, if you wanted to capture something with the Mini 3, being able to rotate the camera, you now have that full field of view. But if you were cropping in on, say, the Mavic 3 and cropping into the center of the frame, it's a much tighter field of view. So it gives you a different look, but also it's just a lot easier to frame up and manipulate.
Yeah, and wait until you guys get the actual drone. It's neat the way that camera snaps in the vertical, Billy.
Yeah, it is really cool.
I mean, it was even impressed my wife. I was showing, look at this, and she awed when she saw it just snap back and forth. You know, hey, Bill, we got a question in the chat for you. This is Robbie Gray from Travel Tech 360. He's over in Thailand, right, Johnny?
Yep.
He says, do you think there will be a hack or a way in the future to load third-party apps on a new controller? I believe he means the DJI RC.
Yeah, look, it would be nice. And since it's running Android, you know, it's pretty open. So I feel like there could be a way to potentially do that in the future. You can still get into your settings, which gives you a good amount of flexibility. But really, I mean, even though with the RC Pro, you're able to go onto like Chrome or to Firefox and do all these different things, I never use that. You know, like I just use these controllers to fly. So I don't really care all that much about that. But yeah, I mean, I could see it potentially being hacked by someone that's a lot smarter than me because I wouldn't know the first thing about how.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's kind of what you got a tablet for and stuff. I don't know. It's just kind of not needed really, but I guess be cool, you know.
Yep.
It's a good question, Robbie. Yeah, that'll be interesting in
Yeah.
the future. I'm like Billy. You know, I've tried to do all that with the Smart Control and the RC Pro. I've tried it, and then I don't do anything with it anyway. So I've given up with all that. If I'm going to look stuff up, like you know, if I'm going to use apps, I'll just use them on my phone right beside the RC Pro. If I'm trying to use Before You Fly or something like that, I'll just use my phone.
Quite frankly, I love the ease of use of the DJI RC booting right into the Fly app. It's just one less thing I've got to do. It boots.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
into
you're right, exactly. Yeah,
I turn it on, it opens right up, and I'm good. I don't have to like dig through and find the Fly app and then go fly and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a champagne problem, but I actually would prefer just booting right into the Fly app and going.
Yep. Just like it's almost, what do you call that? Like a one-purpose device.
Exactly.
Lauren in the chat, they answered a question from a couple people. They asked him if the DJI RC would be available as a standalone item, and Lauren's telling him, yeah, at a later date at $309 approximately. You know.
Yeah,
so,
I don't. That's a good price if it's going to be $309.
Yeah.
I don't see how they don't make it available with other drones and stuff. I mean, you know, if it came out with the Mavic 3, it'd be a question of, oh, are they going to make this compatible with the lower tier drones? But the fact that they started with their lowest tier drone, there's no way they're not going to make it compatible with the higher end drones. You know, like there's no way they're going to come out with a semi-premium controller that can only work with their lowest end, most or least expensive drone.
Do you think a lot of people a lot of Mavic 3 owners that did not buy the RC Pro would buy the DJI RC for $309 if it was available as a standalone?
Yeah, and quite frankly, I think it's a little bit better than the RC Pro for the average person. I mean, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it's really comfortable. It's really small. You know, it gives you all the basic functions that you need, a nice sustained brightness, the benefit of having a built-in screen, no notifications, nothing annoying like that. And it has a longer runtime of 4 hours over the 3 hours in the DJI RC Pro. And
it charges up faster too, Bill. You don't need you don't need the 65 watt charger. You just plug it in kind of a normal thing. It'll charge up faster.
Yeah.
I had one of the point, but old man forgot his point there.
You know, Lon talking about the Air 3 here. I mean, I don't see how DJI doesn't come out with the Air 3 as their next, GPS drone. I think that new little FPV drone will probably be their next release. I mean, that thing's been leaked pretty big, and they actually also came out with a leak of the goggles today too, which are a little bit smaller and more low profile. So
you think they'll be more affordable?
Yeah, I think so. And
that'll keep the price of the, what are we calling that new drone? The
Ava or something like that.
Yeah. Do you think that'll keep that price of that drone down if the goggles are less?
Yeah, it could, and I don't know if they're going to be able to, but it'd keep the price down if you could also use the older goggles too. The V2 goggles would be nice,
They say you can't, but I mean that's all speculation,
I know. Lon's point here about the Air 3 coming out next, I don't see how that's not their next consumer level drone. I mean, they're not going to upgrade, these other drones like the Mini or the Mavic before they upgrade their Air line. I just don't know. I mean, I feel like they've got to go with a bigger sensor than a 1-inch sensor. I mean, sure, it'd be nice to have the vertical video and the variable aperture. That would be a big upgrade, but like, you know, if they just had the same size sensor, I feel like they need to do something maybe a little bit bigger. I don't know.
Do you think there is a need for the Air series anymore? Is there enough room between the Mini 3 Pro and the Mavic 3 for another drone?
I think so. I mean, I think that it is a good buy. You know, the Mavic, it's kind of like the iPhones. Like they're always going to have three options. You know, because three options is just like a sweet spot. One that's less expensive and smaller, one that's in the mid range that most of the people will buy, and one that's on the high end that's reserved for those that are power users. So,
yeah, good point. 107 Drones Help. The Avanta is the code name for the FPV drone, or at least that's what all the leak sites are saying it's going to be called.
I mean, so like they would make a bigger sensor and longer battery life for the Air 3. I mean, what else? What else are they gonna do? I'm guessing the sensor's probably right. You're actually right about the sensor, I think. Yeah.
It's so difficult to understand like what else they could do. Even like what's the Mini 4 gonna have? Like, please tell me what the Mini 4 can do.
Faster shipping.
Yeah.
I've never been this stumped. Like when the Mini 1 came out, I was like, all right, they could give us raw photos and stuff like that. And then when the Mini 2 came out, I was like, well, it'd be nice if they could add some obstacle avoidance to this. And then they did that and more with this drone. And now it's just like, I literally couldn't ask for anything more. Although we'll be here in 2 years and we'll be like, oh, I can't believe, you know, the Mini 4 has this feature. I can't live without it.
Right. Well, we're at the stage where we are with smartphones for several years now. The new smartphones come out and they're better than the ones before, but they're not revolutionary better. They're just slightly better than what you had the year before. It's been that way for 5 years in the smartphone. Now. You know, you get small incremental upgrades. And now one thing.
Or this, Ron. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, DeMarco. Go ahead.
No, Ron. I was saying, like, why don't they just hold off and stop doing 2 years every 2 years? Though, like the Mavic Pro was out for how many years? No, about 2.5, maybe 3.
Yeah.
First one. Then the Mavic 2 was out for 4 years almost, probably, right? Because it was.
I think it's competition, DeMarco. You know, the Hubsan and even though they all, I mean, even a little, with the Nano and all of that, but they're forcing them out pretty quick now,
Yeah. Hey, Billy, one thing I want to talk about is on the Mini 3 has that 1.7 inch wide aperture on it, and it lets a lot more light into we're used to. I mean, I don't have ND filters for mine because I just got it, and I mean, like. If you look at your shutter thing, I'm whatever 2000 shutter, just keeping the exposure rate on that thing. I mean, people are going to have to learn to use ND filters more than they ever did before if they want to keep a decent shutter rate. And the same thing applies to the little Autel Nano too. It lets in a bunch of light, and the shutter's incredibly high on that thing if you want to get your exposure right.
It is really wacky. My shutter is always really high on that drone, but the video still looks good. I mean, the video still looks, I mean, you with a drone, when you're higher up in the sky, you're not going to notice like a difference in shutter. I mean, you could crank your shutter up to 1/400th and it's still going to look fine. I mean, that's why like sure variable aperture is nice to have. But on the Air 2S, my philosophy is just put an ND8 filter on there. And if I need to make it any darker, I'll move my shutter up. Like if I'm shooting at 30 frames per second and my shutter speed is 1/120th, it's not like my footage is going to be ruined. It's still going to look fine. You know what I mean? The only time you're going to see a difference is if you've got someone standing right in front of the drone that's making a lot of fast movements. Like that's the only time that you're going to notice a really big difference. I
say the same thing. I'm flying 200 feet above the beach or whatever. There's no movement to blur.
Yeah. I mean, you got the movement of the waves and stuff, but that still looks natural. So the shutter speed thing is that rule is a lot more prevalent for like a ground camera, but for a drone camera, you can break that rule.
Yeah. Hey, another odd question here. Back to the Mavic 3 on the tele lens, when they gave you different frame rates, why did they give us the odd European frame rates of 25 and 50? Like what, they didn't give us 60 FPS on it. They gave us 50.
I know that is so bizarre. And you just wonder if there's actually like a physical limitation of the processor that it couldn't handle 60 frames per second. Like it could handle 50. It might be able to handle 54, but it can't get to 60, so I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. So you wonder if they ever will correct it with 60, or like you said, they hit their limit and that's it. And
Unfortunately, I think the Mavic 3 has gotten too, as crazy as it sounds, I think it's gotten too old to expect things like that from it, from DJI. Like, I know that it sounds absurd, but, I really do think that last update that we got is the big final firmware update that we're going to get for it. Anything from here will be small little features added. Maybe they might add a feature that's almost like, we could say, in beta to test for a next drone. Like, sometimes they like to add different features that are going to be in, other whatevers. So,
yeah. Okay, good answer. Move on to a couple other things on the list here. Billy's got to run at 10:15, so we're going to get him out here promptly tonight. So if you have any questions for Billy, ask him in the next 15 minutes. We saw Marcus got to test this already. Freewell has a wide-angle lens now for the Mavic 3. Billy, you've tested the DJI wide-angle lens out. How did you like that lens?
The wide-angle lens is cool, and they actually rectified a good amount of the things that I had wrong with that. A couple of them wrong with that in the newest firmware update. So it knows when you have the wide-angle lens on there, and now if you put it on in the top corner, it says like using ultra-wide lens, so it knows when it's on there. And before, you couldn't use active track, you couldn't use point of interest or spotlight, and you couldn't use hyperlapse. But now you can use all those functions with the wide angle lens. So I'm looking forward to doing some hyperlapses using the wide angle lens. I think it's now a more powerful tool because of that. But I also feel like the distortion can just be like, it can be crazy on that drone for a battery. Yeah. Like, I mean,
and the Freewell kit that Marcus got, they even include detachable ND filters to put on the wide angle lens.
The what? Oh, ND filters on the wide angle?
It comes with detachable ND filters to put on the wide angle lens.
That's nice, because that's the one issue. You can't put them on if you're using the wide angle lens. You got to choose either or.
Yeah, they're these ND filters only are for that lens. They don't work in anything else. But I thought that was kind of neat. So that's something to look forward to in the future. And now, another thing. Just today, our good friends over at Insta360, they have updated their app to version 1.16.0 for iOS. And I haven't done it yet, so I don't know if there's a firmware update on the camera along with that. But that brings me around to last week. We didn't do a show last week because of holiday. But Insta360, they released a new spear camera for the Air 2S that allows you to take 360 video. And people have tried this before, but it always came with kind of like pain points. It never was perfect, but it looks like they finally got this right. Billy, I know. Have you got a chance to test this kit yet at all?
It's still in the box. I've been pretty busy, but I don't have any comment on it. It's still sitting in the box. I got to make my video. It's just
but does it look interesting to you?
Look, yeah, it does definitely look interesting. Although from some people that I know that were testing it early, I was talking to them, and like there's like satellite issues because it's covering the drone and it can't connect to the home point.
I thought they fixed that. Dang.
Well, if they did, that's great. But look, I haven't done much research on it to the point where where I can comment on it, because mine is still in the box. In fact, mine is still in the brown box that it got shipped in. Like that's how much I haven't touched it.
Well, some nice day, put it all in the car, bring it down to Sherm, we'll test it.
Try to do it.
The boardwalk, and
I'll hand it off to you. You can make the video for my channel. I'll give you half the ad.
I'll be like Chris Waters on Kelly's channel, huh?
I'll give you half the ad revenue. You'll get like $15.
Deal. Sounds. My agent says it sounds like a good deal.
$15.
Here's a question from Richard. He's one of the big fans of our show. And Bill, you're the only one on the panel that's got this. If you go to DJI's website, it says that the batteries are Li-ion or whatever. It doesn't say poly. And he asked me about the batteries, and I just have the standard battery, but mine says poly on the battery.
Yeah.
On the extended life batteries, are they the poly ones that discharge smartly, or are they the regular ion ones that just hold the charge forever, like the Mini 1 batteries did?
Let me grab it real quick, but I think that they're both lithium ion poly, at least from what I saw.
There we go. While Billy's gone, we'll cover another story here. Our good friend, Hubsan. Somebody brought Hubsan up earlier. Hubsan US, which is a third-party reseller in the US of Hubsan drones, is going out of business. and they're running a big GOB sale right now. In fact, there's not much left over there. And rumors say that Hubsan has merged with Exo Drones. That's EXO. They're a U.S.-based company, and they're going to be the sole reseller of Hubsan drones in the U.S. from here on, from going. What I told you at the beginning about Hubsan U.S. going business, that's fact. The second part where I told you about the merger, that's rumor. So any comments on Hubsan U.S.?
I saw Chris Waters just said that if he went to Hubsan.com, it went over to there. So I had to check that out.
Yeah.
You want to, DeMarco, it's Monday, so I'm sure a new Hubsan drone came out today.
But you can't buy it on the site. It's sold out.
You can't buy it, but
it came out, but it's not shipping, Johnny.
Yeah, they're both lithium-ion polymers.
Okay, thank you, Billy. So, Richard, they are both poly. So, everybody loves that Mini 1 battery that did discharge on you.
I know, right? And the Mini 2, right?
I still have a couple. I don't have the drone, but I have a couple of the batteries around for the Mini 2. And
just on the original Mini, the Mini 2.
I woke Chris Waters up when I mentioned I'm going to be the Chris Waters of Billy's channel.
He posted on Ready Set Drones his video. Okay,
one last topic I got on the board here. We talked about the new Fimi drone last week, the Fimi X8 SE 2022. Advanced? These now, I don't know who makes
V2,
But we had rumors of a smart control last week for it, and now the smart control is actually on Fimi's website. It's called the X10, and it does have 1,000 nits of screen brightness. Now, we got no pricing or availability yet, but that's pretty impressive, huh, for 1,000 nits on the Fimi smart controller. DeMarco, you're silent there.
I'm not a big fan.
I was just thinking. I actually looked it up. It looks good, but like you're just.
How much is it?
You got no pricing here, John.
I'm about to say, why would you want $1,000 smart controller for a $300 drone?
Hey, we got to bring it up here.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, we see, Billy. If we don't talk about other drones, we get accused of being fanboys here. So I always have to have other drones on the agenda.
You always have to, right? You always got to mix something else in so they don't come burn your house down with torches.
Billy, I say this all the time. Like, we all had those, and most of us here are just done with them. You know, like, we already went through that flying, and gotta come. Oh, okay, thanks for straightening that out though. Like, we're just done with it. I am personally. I must be for everybody.
I'm not buying 3 crappy $500 drones when you can just buy one decent one, you know?
Yeah, my Fimi is still in the box. It was never taken out.
That's a good place for
Which one was it? Which one?
The X8 Mini or something like that. I don't even know.
That Mini one was the worst. Yeah, good thing you didn't get that out.
Yeah.
Keep that in the box.
Yeah, I mean, I heard so many bad things about it that I was like, I don't even know if I want to try reviewing this thing.
Well, it'd take you more time to review that than it would the Mavic 3 or the Mini 3 because it's so much stuff to figure out and so many issues. The review never ends, Billy. It's like you have to just put it aside because you're never going to stop reviewing it because you're never going to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean,
Billy. Billy, I'm sorry. I was going to say, like, if you had like a nephew or something, like you can give that to him. But it'd be a headache for him. It'd be a headache, and he's calling you to fix. Hey, what's wrong with this drone you gave me, Uncle? It's like,
must be a nephew you don't like a lot, DeMarco.
Yeah.
I'll re-gift it.
Someone you don't know.
Yeah, right. I'll give it to some random guy on the street.
Lon Denard got a $27 X8, a Fimi X8 Mini.
Yeah, Lauren flies. Yeah, Lauren flies the Fimi. Yeah,
he's a $27. Yeah, and he was griping about the price, the way it flew.
That's amazing.
Well,
he wanted. He did an auction. They had something one night. I don't remember how, but it was $27.
Oh, well, here's Lon's got a comment here. Here we go, Lon. The Fimi X8 Mini kid, keep it in the box and light it on fire.
I'll give it to Ken and he can put it in a blender.
There you go. Oh, I saw you talk about people not getting the Mini 3. Even Ken Herron took to Facebook complaining about not. Even Ken Herron can't get his Mini 3. So guys, don't feel bad. A big star like Ken Herron is pigging DJI support or customer service and getting the the standard don't bother me response.
Yep.
Ron, I got that. I'm gonna send it to Marcus.
Yeah, you want some link?
Okay, Billy's got less than 10 minutes left. Any final questions for Billy? Billy, is there anything we didn't bring up tonight that kind of is on your mind? Maybe you want to talk about the Mini 3 or anything or whatever,
No, I mean, look, I think that we pretty much covered everything. I mean, I think that the thing to know about this drone is you every single time it's always like, oh, you can't deceive it by its size. It's so good. But really, I mean, that's the case with this drone. I mean, it's definitely deserving of its pro name, and it's really impressive for the size. So, overall, I really can't recommend the drone enough. And it's a drone that I bring with me when I go and work and I use it because it's that great.
I was flying it today. It was a gusty day down at the shore. I'm not saying it was extremely windy, but it was gusty, windy. And I was flying over the ocean into a gusty wind. I was still getting like 28, almost 29 miles per hour, even in the wind. So it does well in the wind. Like you were saying earlier, it doesn't feel like a mini drone. Like if you didn't know it was a mini drone up there, you wouldn't know. You couldn't tell just by looking at the controller and what it could do. That's a mini drone.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you're totally right. You could hand somebody the remote controller and they wouldn't be able to tell what drone it is.
And the quietness, you touched on the quietness for, but even my wife, when I landed yesterday, we were flying at the end of Longport at sunset, and I was bringing down. She said, that thing came down. She didn't hear it until like the last minute.
Yeah. No, it's really, really impressive.
And yeah, I mean, it's all. I mean, I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but if you're thinking about the Mini 3, it's all good. Just if you can get it, get it. I mean, I can't think of a downside so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the price is a little bit high, but when you factor in the built-in screen and all that stuff, I think it's a little bit easier to stomach. It is tough to see a mini drone that expensive though, but you look at everything else. You look at the Nano Plus and how expensive that is.
Yeah, in fact, it's probably priced a little bit better than Nano Plus, right?
Yep, it's less expensive with a better controller.
Okay, I didn't see Marcus's comment earlier.
I sent him a link.
Marcus may make an appearance from the Idaho, General Hospital.
Billy, when you do a shoot now with long battery, do you do a real estate shoot all in that one battery, or does it take? I mean.
Wow. I can do a whole entire day's worth of work in one battery.
Okay, that's what I was. Yeah. So I mean,
you're in the air for maybe 8 minutes, and the most homes that I'll do in a day is like 8, but not all those homes are going to get realistic. Not all.
Right.
So I mean, really, shit.
So you never had a trouble with flight time is you got a long time.
Never. I mean, I could do a whole entire house in maybe 15% of battery life on the upgraded battery. It's really good. All houses vary because some you'll be on a big farm and you've got to fly further and stuff.
Yeah, you got a lot of
varies, but no, it's really good.
Hey, Billy, what do you think of the photo quality coming out of that? I know I heard some people, Europeans, complain that they were complaining about the JPEGs not looking that good from it. I forget exactly what they were saying.
I've got no issue.
Yeah, I haven't taken mine into Lightroom and really pushed them yet, but they look good to me right off the camera.
I mean, again, like it really does impress me. It really does impress me with what the photos look like. I mean, we've had some issues with the quad bear sensor in the past. I always thought that they looked a little bit weird coming out of the Mavic Air 2, but I love shooting, with the 40 megapixel photos on this drone. And the one thing I wish is I could do bracketed, 48 megapixel photos, but 48 megapixels is like its own shooting mode,
Yeah, it's true.
That's kind of pain.
True. Hey, Intel Maxwell Motor Rotors, he asked if the Air 2S price will drop. And we discussed that a little bit. It hasn't dropped just for buying a drone, but it has dropped if you're buying a kit.
Yeah, I don't see that dropping any more than, how expensive it is now. I mean, it is dirt cheap for what it is. So I can't see them lowering it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, the bargain comes in the bundles now, not buying
Yep.
just
I
the
agree.
drone. So
Yeah, a lot of people getting rid of the Air 2s, you know, even stepping up to the Air 2S, you know.
Lon saying the Nano costs $950 with the standard controller. So yeah, and they don't have anything but a standard controller where you can get the of course the Mini 3 with the DJI RC for whatnot, like about the same price. Of course, these Flymore kit will cost you another $200 or whatever. So that puts you up to about over 1,100. Where you can get, I think you can get the Nano, the Flymore kit for like 1,050, but of course that only comes with, again, just a standard controller. So it's a little bit of apple to oranges here, but they're both in the same ballpark as price. And Billy, you've flown the Nano Plus when it came out. I'm not asking you to do a comparison between that and the Mini 3. I'm sure you'll get to that eventually, but just spitballing it here. Which one do you like flying better?
I mean, I like the Mini 3 Pro. I think that it has a better camera. The Nano does fly well, and that's something that I was probably most impressed with because a lot of their previous ones were not the best flyers. So I was impressed with how the Nano flew. I still think it's a great drone. Like, you're not going to go wrong with buying either of them. They're both great, but it's really hard to recommend the Nano because the Mini 3 Pro is around. I mean, the Nano was a lot more easy to recommend because the Mini 2 was out, right? Like, that was their best mini drone. But then you also had to factor in that the Nano was double the price. So it was still a little bit difficult to recommend right out of the gate. But now it's hard to recommend with the Mini 3 out. Just because
and the battery life on a Nano is not real good.
No, and especially not as good as with the upgraded battery. Now, you might say, oh, well, now it's not the same class of drone because it's over 250 grams. But, it is what it is.
Right. I mean, I like it. I like the way it flies, and camera's good, but it's definitely yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to compare, because, hey, you don't need to justify something when you buy it. It's an okay drone, the camera is good.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot better drone in a world where the Mini 3 doesn't exist,
right.
So, well, we're getting close to time. It's 10:13 now, and Billy's got to run. So I'm going to let Billy say his goodbyes tonight, and maybe you want to promote some of your social media sites or any upcoming videos, or do a little shameless promotion here on your way out the door, Billy.
Yeah, look, you know what? I pretty much just have the same stuff coming out, just some videos, doing some comparisons. I have this funny video coming out comparing commercial drones to consumer drones because I get a lot of these comments on my M30 videos where people are like, well, why doesn't the M30 capture raw photographs? And it's like, because it doesn't have to, In fact, I'd go as far as saying an enterprise drone shouldn't be able to shoot raw photos because it's just going to confuse whoever's using them. I mean, this is for data collection. The JPEGs right out of the camera are going to be great for what law enforcement needs to use, for what, for inspection purposes. So I would argue to say that you don't need to shoot raw photos. So that's going to be pretty funny because I think that the difference between an enterprise and consumer drone should be pretty easy to spot, but I'm breaking it down in that video. Something that's pretty cool. Me and Ken Dono with Pilot Institute, we're coming out with a photo course that's dropping in a week or so. So that should be pretty cool. It's going to be
that's what you were doing in Arizona for a long time, right?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they're going to sell it for, but it's a full-fledged course from learning everything about how to capture photos, from what shutter speed is, ISO, and this and that, what depth of field is. So, I mean, it is a full-fledged photo course from start to finish. And then we have other aspects of it where you can learn how to do real estate photography, and you can learn how to do architecture photography, and you can learn how to do aerial photography. So like there's all of these things built into one course, and it's always going to be updated. So if anybody goes and buys the course right now, if we add another section in 2 months from now, you'll get that course and that edition for free. So it's going to be a pretty comprehensive.
Hey, question, Billy, do you have your shoes on while you're filming that?
Well, no. Not yes for that one. It was in a studio setting, but for this one, I mean, no. But I won't. I'll spare you guys. I won't stand up either. I'll stay like this.
That was cool. Y'all was sitting there with the.
Yeah, cool. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight with us. We really want to talk about the Mini 3, and then we got the Mavic 3 update hit last week, so it's a perfect time to have you with so much going on, and I'm sure you'll be covering both those drones more in the near future when you get a chance.
Yeah, well, look, I can't wait for both of you guys to get your drones just so you guys can experience it for yourself, because it's
I'm
hard to
excited.
even explain. I mean, you start flying and you're like, damn, this thing is not a mini drone. It feels like something so much bigger and so much better. So it really is. It really is impressive.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Thanks for coming on, Billy. Appreciate
You got
it.
it,
Thank
man.
you,
I'll see you.
All right, good night, Billy.
See ya.
Thanks. And Billy's leaving. Now we got another big star coming in, all from the from the emergency room. Marcus, welcome in tonight. How are you feeling, sir?
Son of a gun, boys. It isn't any fun at all. You see this tube in my nose?
No.
No, what tube?
We don't see it at all.
Now that goes all the way.
I don't even notice it, Marcus.
That goes all the way there. I'm more wired up in more ways. I can't move out of this bed.
Damn.
Yeah. It was supposed to be a fun week with Mike Wright, out flying drones and stuff. But boy,
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to say hi. I won't bug you guys for so long, but I wanted you to know I'm still alive. So
we kind of updated the people as much as we could before the show started, and a lot of people were concerned. So it's a lot of thoughts and prayers out there. We know, it's not gonna be a comfortable couple days here, but hopefully we'll have you out there by the end of the week.
Yeah. Let me tell you guys, it is super uncomfortable. You can't move or whatever, and there's potential that they'll do some surgery tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it comes down. But I'm glad to be feeling better. That's for damn sure. So,
at least you know what's hopefully you'll know what's going on, and then you'll have a course to get that corrected. So you'll be out there as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Are you? Oh, okay. You got the nurse there taking care of you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Here.
Is it good?
Are you able to eat anything, Marcus? Or
Okay.
We're good, boys.
Okay, good.
Are you able to eat, or do they just feed you an IV?
I won't eat anything for probably 2 days. Yeah,
The IV's all you have, huh? Yeah.
This thing is vacuuming everything out of my gut.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
Sorry
to see you in so much pain, Mark.
I know, Marcus, man. You got to get up, get well, brother.
Well,
you got to rest.
Yeah. Yesterday I walked 6 miles. Mowed the lawn, did all that. And then, man, wham! I mean, what I'm telling you is, you just never know how fast something can hit you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
Can you stand up, Marcus, at all, or
no? Hell no. I mean, I could, but because I'm hooked up to all this stuff. I can't.
Yeah, he's strapped in.
Yeah, so
I wanted to see your gown. Is that an open gown in the back, or is that an open in the front?
It's open in the back, buddy. What do you get? What do you get?
DeMarco's a young man. He doesn't know those hospital gowns yet.
Yeah.
I'm about to find out.
Son of a gun.
And what's weird about those gowns? You instantly look sicker when they put you in a gown.
Isn't that a fact? And then things like, when they walk in and they tell you, hey, okay, we're going to take this tube, we're going to stick it in your nose, and we're going down into your stomach. You're going to what?
Yeah.
Don't gag.
Yeah, boy, trust me, I did.
Marcus, is your drone showing up tomorrow, or?
The drone will be delivered tomorrow. Not that it does me any good.
Well, Sarah can fly it for you.
Yeah, there's a thought, huh? I know. All excited, waiting for that thing. When does it show up? I'm in the hospital.
Yeah.
So depending on what's going on, I mean, I could potentially be in here if they decide that they want to do surgery. I could be in here for another several days. So.
Right.
Okay.
Believe me, most hospitals want to get you out there as soon as you can, so you'll probably be out sooner than you figure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping so too. I can tell you, I feel a lot better. I sure would, enjoy. I feel bad for Mike. He's here through Wednesday, and we had planned on doing some stuff, and we're just not going to be able to do it now. So.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah.
I'm sure both of these guys would have had a good time. I already got to watch your video, the first video with Mike and Dr. Ted out there at the canyon, and I felt so bad for poor Mike. He couldn't get that Mavic 3 going.
Yeah. Well, he finally did get it going. Hey, let me tell you the other advantages of having buddies like Dr. Ted. You know, Dr. Ted is a gastroenterologist.
Yeah.
So when the gastroenterologist came in talking about my deal, I put him on the phone with Dr. Ted.
Oh,
So
really?
Yeah, you're darn right. Yeah, Dr. Ted called me up and said, I want to talk to him. And so he did. So, you know, it's good to have a voice of experience that knows what's going on.
Yeah, no lie.
Right. Yeah, and that doctor at the hospital knows you got somebody watching over him and knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, got an advocate. Yeah, darn right.
Yeah.
Sarah just left. She has to leave, which, you know, I mean, God, she's been sitting here all day long. So
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing worse than being in a hospital yourself is sitting there for somebody else in the hospital.
Boy, that's kind of a fact. It is and really, you know, because I'm stuck in this bed, I can't even get up and walk around because I'm wired up to all this stuff. This tube and I mean, I got stuff on my arms here. And
Marcus, is any COVID regulations going on in the hospital now?
You know
still?
what? They've lightened up a lot, Johnny. They let Sarah in here.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, because sometimes you can only have one person now here still, so I didn't know. You know.
Yeah, I don't know how many people could come up. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, glad to be alive. Weird to be, you know, this deal that I have in my gut, I guess, is congenital. I was born with it, and you know, now at 66 years old, it decides to, hey, I'm gonna mess with you a little.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's what they say, getting old's no fun.
Well, there you go. Well, it's better than the alternative.
True.
Dying young.
True.
Yeah.
Well, Marcus, you gotta heal up for next week because guess who the special guest is next Monday night on DroneNation?
Billy Kyle.
Well, even a bigger name, Philly Drone, Mikey from Philly Drone Life will be on with us next Monday night.
Well, my intention is to be there. So,
and he has already received his Mini 3 and his Flymore kit.
Yeah.
So he'll be able to tell us all about it. And he did do a city range test already, and he expected it not to do real well in the new controller because that's what people reported. He did great. I think he got it further than any drone he ever did before.
Yeah. Good.
So, Mark, our good friend Mark Fisher sending out prayers for you, Marcus.
Thank you, Mark.
Absolutely, yeah. Marcus, I always got pushed back till Wednesday. DeMarco and ours and mine.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
but I did get.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you got it.
Give us a little show and tell in that case there.
Yeah, see, this is the drone goes here, and then this phone comes out here for the controller.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was wondering what this was here. This is for the pen.
That's for the
lens pen.
Yeah. You got one, DeMarco, don't you?
Yeah,
okay.
I've got
a photographer's lens pen. Okay.
This is for the screwdriver.
Yeah.
This one here.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Only one problem: we don't have the drone to go in there.
No.
Where did you order that case from, DeMarco?
GPC.
Oh, direct from the manufacturer. Okay.
Yeah, I got one coming too. It's probably gonna beat the drone here, probably.
Yeah, you'll be flying the case and the drone.
With the discount code, what was it, Johnny? A flight path.
Flight path.
Yeah.
You got it off of our good
$17.
friend
Aldrin.
Adrian's link. Hey,
Aldrin,
what do you guys
got a little discount
your,
there.
What do you guys got to do with your Flymore kit bags?
Throw it away. Like Brian.
Closet with the other.
No.
But here, I'll say this. This is it's the same size case as my Air 2. Yes.
Oh yeah, look. Yeah. Well, again, the Mini 3 almost rivals the Air 2S in many ways. Hey, Marcus, Chris from Sunrise Water Medias is wishing you hopes you recover soon.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Yeah, it's I don't wish this kind of stuff on anybody.
And Will Rock 82969 says, Marcus, hope you feel better, buddy. My family and I will keep you in our prayers.
Thank you. Thank you.
And of course, Bob Dempsey says, Idaho Copter, what did you swallow?
Yeah. A drone.
A Mini 3.
A Hubsan.
Yeah.
Marcus, I covered that story tonight on the on Hubsan US going out of business and having a big GOB sale. I told him that rumor that we heard about their immersion with Exo drones, and Exo drones would be the sole distributor in the US of the Hubsan drones.
Sounds like probably not a bad deal, really.
Yeah. Marcus said, DeMarco was, I think he was ordering a couple Hubsan drones while we were talking about the story.
DeMarco loves Hubsan.
No, they're all sold out. They're all sold out. The Ace, all of them.
You can't get anything.
If you go to Hubsan.com, it pulls up XO or EXO drones. It don't even go to Hubsan anymore.
Wow. No. Oh.
I'll be darned.
Now look, let me see. This is what comes up when you type Hubsan.com.
I'm going to put it up here, Johnny. Oh, wow.
Oh.
The X7 Ranger. And now the good thing is, Marcus and I talked about this before, unlike Hubsan, these people actually have support. So if you bought that thing and it didn't work or didn't fly, someone would actually pick the phone up and, you get a replacement.
Right.
Warranty.
What's even better, they might actually have drones.
I didn't have this on the list, but our good friend Grow Man, he got an early model of the Fimi Mini, not the Xeno. They've taken the Xeno out of it. This is called the Fimi Mini. It's basically the same camera as the Mini SE. I mean, the same drone as the Mini SE, but the camera from the Xeno Mini Pro. And Grow Man reported, that it was almost nothing to complain about. It was all good.
Well, that's good.
Of course, I did spot a little crooked horizon in there.
It has to be. Hey, tell Lon that I'm good. He doesn't need to. I appreciate his offer.
What did he say? Oh, I see.
Put more comments down.
I got you.
Oh.
Mike Kenny, yeah.
If you need me to fly down Cute Sarah Company, let me know. Lon, oh, yeah, good old Lon.
I appreciate it, Lon. Thank you.
Lon, you could fly down and make sure his Mini 3 gets taken in safely, though.
Yeah.
Lon. Get well soon, though, Marcus. Please. Please.
And our good friend Harley FPV, he's saying howdy and get well soon, Marcus.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it.
So, Marcus, Mike Wright is still in Idaho, though, right?
He's at a hotel about just across the road from me.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And he has quite his own story. He got caught in a terrible hailstorm. Was it yesterday, Marcus?
He did. Yeah, that was quite a storm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the road was like filled with hail. I mean, what kind of weather are you having out there, Marcus?
Yeah.
Man, good thing that blue Corvette wasn't out in that.
Boy, that would have been nasty. I wouldn't have been out there.
Man.
Yeah.
Mike said he was driving a rented car. He had a Malibu.
Yeah.
So they're all talking about. Mike Kinney says he heard about Exo and Hubsan merging, and then Chris Waters heard the same thing too. So I guess this is pretty much true. So that's going to be interesting going forward.
Yeah, I
agree. Guys, we've hit the 10:30 mark here. Anybody have any final thoughts or comments before we bid adieu for this week? I mean, outside of the fact that we hope that you three in the panel here, and I know Marcus won't get his hands on it in a couple of days, but at least it's there if it arrives tomorrow, Wednesday. But you guys are looking at Wednesday now, right? DeMarco.
Yep, that's what it said.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
DeMarco, we got a little bet. We're making a little bet on who gets it first.
Yeah, Johnny, come on, let's do it.
No, it's coming, and it'll be fun to fly. I can't wait.
And Johnny, you need to get better shots of your foundation of your new house.
Hey, I've got some boards going up tomorrow. We'll have some walls going up.
Good.
Congrats, Johnny.
Yeah.
How soon do you expect to be in?
We shooting for the end of the year.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if we can make it by Christmas, but whatever.
At least you'll be in.
Yeah, I might. Well,
Your
no,
daughter.
not really, because this one house got to be. It's 1 meter, water. You can't. So it's got to all be done together.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty nasty storm in Stewart, Florida. Okay, Bill. Yeah, marble size hail. Wow.
Oh, Uncle Bill's on here.
Yeah.
Now, Florida they had a tropical storm last weekend, right?
Yeah, I think they did over the weekend. They had a little storm come through there.
I'll
Hey,
be
guys.
safe down. All our Florida friends, be safe down there.
I want to thank everybody for all their good wishes. I really appreciate it. It helps me a lot. And everybody just get out there and fly your drones and have
Marcus, keep us updated the best you can, and hey, let us know if you need anything, of course.
And keep taking your painkillers so you feel at least kind of numb from all that stuff a little bit.
Boy, oh boy, half the problem is that you're just stuck here.
Yeah.
I can't even get up, go for a walk. I can't get up, use the restroom. I have to call the nurse first.
Yeah, well,
Get unplugged and
Yeah.
Anyways,
Oh, yeah.
but
Did you bring a pillow with you or something, like something small?
Yeah, you need your
Fly
little
down the
whoop to
hall.
fly around.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That'd keep me entertained. Fly it out the window.
They can't kick you out. You say, "Hey, take the drone," and you can't kick me out.
Yeah.
Ray Kelly saying, Marcus, keep the faith, stay positive. We're all praying for you. JSK Enterprise Leonard says prayers for Marcus. I want to thank everybody out there for supporting Marcus. It's again, it almost no worse. Well, it is something worse than sitting in the hospital sick. You're not being alive, but the next worst thing is sitting in the hospital, all tubed up and everything.
Well, the main thing I want to say is, yesterday I was fine. I walked 6 miles. I was doing good. You just never know what's going to hit you. This thing hit me in the middle of the night. You just never know. So don't take your health for granted.
Right. And enjoy every day and every minute.
That's it.
We're like a life coach up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm glad you came in, and you really welcome our special guest Billy Kyle in here. Billy's so knowledgeable with these drones, especially DJI drones. It's always a treat to have him on, get his insight on things and whatever. And even though he's a big channel, Billy's just a regular guy like the rest of us. If you've ever got to hang out with Billy, he's just one of the guys. It's a great thing about this community. So, anybody have anything to say before I end the show?
No, just get well, Marcus, and we all thinking and praying for you. And hey, you'll be out of there soon and get back to flying. And hey, just take care of yourself. That's the most important thing.
By golly, we hope so.
Marcus, please.
Yep.
Please, sir.
Good thought, Johnny. So don't forget, next week, join us for Philly Drone Life will be here to talk Mini 3. So good night, everyone, and fly safe.